Hello, my name is Alayna Magill, and this is my submission for Reflection for Module 5, Are Video Games Art? To make my case that they are art, we'll be discussing the similarities and differences between other people who have also had this discussion, a comparison to pop culture and video games, what is art in general, and then more specific high art versus low art. Then, does the interactivity negate or help the video games being art? And some more examples about if video games are indeed art. First are the similarities and differences between Romero, Santiago, and Ebert. Romero, Santiago, and Ebert all can agree that rules of video games and games in general provide an eloquence and a beauty to these mediums, and they all also agree that art evolves and it can become better or more intricate. The main difference is that Romero and Santiago both believe video games are art, where Ebert strongly believes that they are not and will never be. He also argues that even having this discussion is not really that important and doesn't add to the topic about art in general. Next is a comparison to pop culture and video games. The clearest example I have of video games influencing other forms of pop culture is The Last of Us, along with Tomb Raider, but The Last of Us is the most current example of video games being adapted into film, which is another aspect of pop culture. And Ruff, in his article about are video games even video or are they even games, he discusses how they are computer art and they are video, but what is video? And he technically analyzes how they interact with each other. So what is art and how does that pertain to video games? For me, art is something that conveys an emotion. That could be through visual aspects, like the painting I have here by Lee Krasner, Milkweed, or music, or video games. This painting just invokes a feeling of serenity and peace about this flower, even if people struggle to really see the flower within the piece. This clip from Horizon Forbidden West is a reaction of the non-player characters to another main character's death and how they incorporate culture along with their emotions and how they're reacting to his death. I will include links to all the videos provided in the description of the video. This clip from Claire Obscure Expedition 33 happens in the beginning 30 to 60 minutes of the game and does a really deep connection with the audience about these characters, even though we have not known them for long. It does a good job conveying emotion along with mixing music to make the player feel like they're rooting for these people. More specifically about art, what is high art versus low art? In Nanavani's article about high art versus low art, he mentions he shows this diagram, which is a very just simple way to showcase the basics about the difference between high art and low art. While normally it's associated with their monetary value or the medium, it's also about why it was made. Is it made to just be viewed at, or is it made to be functional? On the left is a collage done during the Dada period by Hoche. It's a discussion on the industrial period and the art movement that she was a part of during that time. On the right is a collage of Hello Kitty done by my little sister. She made this for herself and about her love of Hello Kitty. And another sign that it falls into the low art category is it is in a permanently bound sketchbook, meaning that she probably only wanted herself to see it, or people that were physically around her, not the whole world like Hoche did with her collage. A more specific example to video games would be a comparison between Picasso's self-portrait in 1907 versus the character concept art for Verso for Claire Obscure Expedition 33. On the left, it was a documentation about Picasso and how he viewed himself, and in his self-portrait series, you can see how this evolves. In the right image, it is a commercial piece meant for other artists to base their information on, for 3D modelers, for character designers, for material makers. It's not meant to be specifically just an art piece, but for other people to base their art on. Next is about the interactivity of video games and if that affects their standing as pieces of art. I don't think this take has any hold about negating the fact that video games are art. Art has been interacted with ever since it was made. In order for art to be seen and viewed, that itself is an interaction between the viewer and the painting or the sculpture. And in this example of Sierra's The Matter of Time, you have to physically move through the space and move through these sculptures. And this piece is also mentioned in Romero's video about the interaction of video games versus fine art. Not only does this the physical aspect or emotional or visual matter to interact, but it creates a connection between the person viewing or playing or discussing and the creator, be it a developer or physical artist. So, are video games art? I would heavily argue that they are, but I will be giving some specific examples about games that I think push this narrative. So, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and Baldur's Gate 3 are video games that really stand out to me as being pieces of art. Both of these games have the strength of conveying strong emotions along with customization and making the player a part of the art piece and a part of the creation of the video game. Clair Obscur does a great job of using their models and lighting and rendering to show the player what they should be feeling or try to suggest a feeling that they could have. And Baldur's Gate 3 specifically lets you customize your player character as an RPG based on a tabletop role-playing game, and they make every decision that you make here affect what happens throughout the whole 75 playable hours of the game. And they also convey emotion throughout the different stories being told, along with Clair Obscur having aspects of customization in the fighting aspect of the game. Here is a culmination of my references, along with my cat Boba. Here are my continued references with my cat Angel. Thank you for listening, and again, this is my submission for reflection for Module 5.